We start the second half of the show with a local man as well. A local man. We like to start with local men because we don't get the orange skins and apple butts up here. Now this young man from very near Macroom is now stationed in Boyne. He's a beautiful singer, very, very shy. So would you give a big welcome, please, for Father Jerry O'Riordan? Hey!
Out in the plain the weary soldiers now are sleeping. After the heat of day the cooling breezes blow. Over the fields the scent of new-mown hay is creeping. Only the sentinel is pacing to and fro. Then from afar there comes the distant sound of marching. Rhythmical feet of soldiers' feet upon the ground. And yet nearer they come to the roll of the drum, with the trumpets resound. Pass by, there they go, what to show those guardsmen. All hearts beat high at the sight of this grand array. Give them a cheer for their right and immortal story. Heroes are they, who will live in song and story. In his dear country now the corn for gold is turning, and in his mind again he sees a no-church town. Deep inside a sheep for whom his heart is yearning, patiently waits for his returning hour by hour. But he must wait, they must wait a little longer, and though he knows through tears he'll turn those eyes of blue. When his country's at war, he must leave her once more, till the fighting is true. Pass by, there they go, on to show those guardsmen. All hearts beat high at the sight of this grand array. Give them a cheer for their right and immortal story. Heroes are they, who will live in song and story. Very much. For my next song, Father John Finn, the parish priest of Clonroad, will sing with me.
This song was not in the charts 50 years ago, but it's in the charts now. And the title of the song is Love's Old Sweet Song, and we're going to sing it in harmony.
If you were at the Opera House last week, Phil Coulter played it, and he has it in his new record. Is it Sea of Tranquility, I think it is?
Sea of Tranquility, correct. Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the wall a mist began to fall, out of the dreams that rose in happy throng, lo, to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk, where fell the firelight gleams, softly it wove itself into our dreams. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though
Even today we hear love song of yore. Deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footprints may falter, weary grow the way. Still we can hear it at the close of the day. So till the end, where melting shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just the song of twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Our next song, a duet, it's Mozart's Lullaby, Hush-a-bye baby to sleep. Hush-a-bye baby to sleep, quiet are the birds and the sheep, silent the wind or the leaves, hushed is the humming of bees, silvery moonbeams so bright, fills the whole world with their light, clear shines the moon in the sky, slumber my sweet hush-a-bye, oh resting in slumber profound, hushed is each murmuring sound. Little my sleep neath the stairs, cats are curled up in their chairs. Only the grandfather clock stirs with his steady tick-tock, chiming a soft lullaby. Slumber, my sweet hush-a-bye. Oh, hush-a-bye. Happy the babe that can rest, safe as a bird in its nest. Fortune and joy be thy share, laughter and play without care. Mother will keep thee from harm, guard thee from every alarm. Close then each tiny blue eye, slumber my sweet hush-a-bye. Oh,
The last song we're going to sing is a very nice little harmony song, Evening Shadows Make Me Blue. It's about 25 years old only.
I wasn't there that time.
Evening shadows make me blue when each weary day is through. How I long to be with you, my happiness. Every day I reminisce, dreaming of your tender kiss, always thinking how I miss my happiness. A million years it seems has gone by since we shared our rings, but I'll hold you again. There'll be no blue memories then, where the skies are gray or blue. Any place on earth will do, just as long as I'm with you. My happiness.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless. Thanks, Len.
Now, lads, would you like to play one or two songs for them? Would you? We'll give you a few minutes. Okay. Would you give a big welcome, please, to the Circles? Right.
It's been a long time since you went away. I stop to think of you most every day. With all my heart I'm hoping you're okay. I guess who loves you? Somebody loves you. I couldn't reach you by the US mail. You didn't leave a fairly easy trail. I tried to telephone to no avail. I guess who loves you? Somebody loves you. I do. Na 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 na. Oh oh. Na 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 na. Oh yeah. Na 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 na. I guess who loves you? Somebody loves you. I do. Pack up all my cares and woe. Here I go, I'm singing low, singing bye, bye, blackbird. Let's hear you, come on. Where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, so is she. Bye, bye, blackbird. When nobody else can understand me, oh, what hard-look stories they all have me. I'll be staying home tonight, shut my door, light that light, blackbird, bye-bye. I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. She was a pearl and the only girl that Daddy ever had. A real old-fashioned lady with a heart so true. Just could love nobody else but you, yeah. I want a girl just like the girl that married dear old Dad. Oh, this Stubarna. on. Let's do Varna. Oh, let's do Varna. Let's do Varna. Don't forget the shovel if you want to go to work. Oh, when the saints go marching in, yeah, when the saints they go marching in, I wanna be in that number. When the saints go marching in, yeah. Hello friends, we'd really love to hear you sing along all this time. Your time is moving on, so let's hear you clear out the old pipes and sing along some of the old ones. Downtown tonight, I saw an old friend, someone who I used to take comfort from long before I met you. I caught a spark from her eye, a forgotten desire. With the touch of your word, Lord, I could have rekindled that fire. Come on, girls, let's hear this sing. Don't be shy. Old flames. Come on. Do you know you're all on television? Do you know that? Come on. No one. What about the people upstairs? On the shelf. On the singing. Come on, girls. Flickering embers of love. Oh, they're all letters. Fair play to you. But old flames can't hold a candle to you. Here's Alan. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crank of those and muscles alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Crank of those and muscles alive, alive, oh. Oh Lord, it's so hard to be humble. Let's hear you when you're perfect. That's it. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's so hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. When I was just a little, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? Outstanding. All together, let's have the boys in on. Que sera, sera. Outstanding. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Alone, all alone, by the wave-washed strand, all alone in a crowded hall. The hall, it is gay, and the waves, they are grand, but my heart is not here at all. It flies to the times and the joys that are gone. Let's hear everyone now, come on. But how could you? The sweet May that I met in the valley near Slievamore. My bunny lies over the ocean. My bunny lies over the sea. My bunny lies over the ocean. So bring back my Bonnie to me. Are you ready? Bring back. Oh, bring back my. No falling asleep there now, please. Bring back, oh bring back, oh bring back my Bonnie to me. Well, this time, friends, the Macroom National Anthem. Let's hear you give it your best. How I long to remember those bright days of yore. How sweetly with joy I recall the friends who frequented my own cabin door, and the comrades I loved as a child. How I long for to roam down Massey Green Grove, or to poach by the light of the moon. That spot of my birth, there is no place on earth like that Massey, the flower of Macroom. Let's hear. So friends, when I first saw the light and Mount Massey, the flower of Macroom.
They didn't know anymore. Go on, go away, because I'm not going to say anything good about you. They're very limited in their capacities. You can go away too. Stay quiet. Come here. Things didn't get any better. No. They went worse when I got in touch with the nuns. Honestly. The nuns, there's not all this cracked up to be at all. You see, I has a lot of inside information. You know, there was this old nun, for instance. She wasn't from Fairyland at all. There's two down here and they're from Fairyland. And they comes out of it as often as they can. But there was this nun, and she was about 75, and didn't she go off for her food? She would eat nothing for the Reverend Mother. But she was losing weight and she was losing interest, and she was getting very bad, you see, and she was failing fast. And did she take nothing? And the only thing she'd take a small drop of hot milk, you see. But she don't take a mouthful of it. But one day, the sister, she got a brainwave. She said to the nun in the kitchen, if you put a small bit of brandy in that, she said, that'd give her a lot of nourishment. And did she finish it all that day? She was no fool. And the next day, didn't they give her half cup? She finished that too. And she took a full cup that's out there, and she kept going. Every bit of milk they gave her after that, she took the whole lot of it. But eventually, didn't she come to die? She did. And there was all around her bed. And just before she died, she called the Reverend Mother over, and she said she had one last request to make. She said, Reverend Mother, when I die, whatever you do, don't sell that cow. You see, she was awful cute, but she took it in the milk. Some of them don't do that at all. They take them straight in the bottle. Because they were one and none, and she was a bit you know, one night, and she was in right good form altogether, and when the nuns was going up to bed, you see, she was up at the top of the stairs, and when the nun had come up, she'd say, bang, bang, and another nun, bang, bang, and she went bang, bang in the whole lot. Did the Reverend Mother come and she said, bang, bang. What are you doing, she said. God love her, she didn't no answer. And the Reverend Mother said, I'll fix you, she said. You'll be sober in the morning, and you'll get up before the rest of us. You'll go to the bottom of the stairs, and in your sober senses, you'll do exactly the same thing as you have been doing now. Didn't she get up all right early in the morning? She went down to the bottom of the stairs, and the first nun came and she said, click, click. And the second one, click, click. And the third one, click, click, and click, click. And then the Reverend Mother comes and said, click, click. And the Reverend Mother said, why have you changed your tune since last night? I was a bit loaded last night, Mother, she said. But I think she's yourselves, you're all half soft in the head too. But to come to see the tall fellas and the small fellas and the fat fellas and everything that was there tonight, there was priests, was there? Yeah, oh God. And you associate with them. You don't know what you do be associating with it, because I tell you, theirs half cracked. There were one priest now, and he was walking on his hands. And somebody asked him why he walked on his hands. He said, with Palm Sunday. And I tell you, that there's always talking about money, taking money off the likes of me. And you know what they do with it? They put it in investments. They wear it on their back. But they think there's always matters. They're always asking questions. Asking questions day and day out. They come in my school and they'd be asking me questions about things that they know nothing about themselves and I know nothing about mother. They came in one day and one fellow wanted to know how many sacraments are there, and he asked me. And I stood up and I said there were 6 sacraments. And he looked at me and he said, are you sure? I said, I am sure. There's baptism, confirmation, Eucharist. And then I said the next 2, penance and matrimony, they're only one. He didn't like it at all. So there was only 6. And then he went on to question me again about the institution of marriage. Asking me about marriage, you know. First of all, he asked me who instituted the sacrament of marriage, and I said it was Jesus. And he said to me then, when did he institute the sacrament of marriage? And I had to think about that one. So I said, after about 10 seconds, 'twas when he said, Father, forgive them, for they knows not what they do. That's why I sing the only song that I know is I never will marry. And then my daddy, he very good to me, because he want me to be brought up very well, and he take me to all the missions, you see. And I remember one night I was taken to the mission. There was a big tall priest, like one of the fellas that was there. I think there's the first fellow that was on. He was about 6'4", and he wasn't tall enough. Wouldn't he stand up in a big thing? I think they called it a pulpit or there was something about pulp in it. A pulpit. And he was up over the whole lot of us, and he looking down. And the first thing he said, everybody in this church that wants to go to heaven, stand up. We all stand up. And then he said, sit down. And then he said, everybody in this church that wants to go to hell, stand up. Didn't I stand up? But he left the war with me, my dear Sonny, he said. I'm sure you misunderstood me. I said, everybody in this church that wants to go to hell, stand up. And I said back to him, I didn't misunderstand you at all, Father. I said, but there's a fright to God to see you standing up there all on your own. And you notice during those missions, now, during the mission, there's always be given all about drink. One night a week you can be certain should they give all about drink. As if they never do it themselves. But my daddy that night, he had me up under the pulpit again, you see, and the big fella was preaching again that night. He loved roaring, whatever was wrong with him. He must have had a pain. He should have gone to the doctor that I went to. But he was roaring that night, and you know what he had to, he thought he was awful smart, you see, because he was what did they call, illustrating what he was saying. And he had one glass of water and he had another glass of Wixie, and he had two big fat red worms, and he put one of the worms in the water and he put the other in the Wixie. And the fella in the water did have a ball, but the fella Wixie died. He died after about 3 minutes. Well, as soon as he died, your man tried to wake him up with a roar. Now, he said, there is no need for me to tell you the effect that whiskey will have on you. You see it for yourselves, an illustration. And I stood up and I said, Father, I suppose what you want to tell us is that if we drink enough whiskey, we'll never get worms. and then they do be getting involved in things too that they didn't know nothing at all about. There was this priest now, and he was called out to a couple that they wasn't getting on too well, you see. And first mistake he made, they was married for 20 years now. So the first mistake he made, they sit down between the two of them, and then they be talking about being anti-divorce and everything. If the priest goes and he separates the two of them straight away, in front of the fire, between the two of them. Yeah. And he was talking to me for about an hour, and he didn't know really how he was getting on, or whether you doing right or whether you doing wrong, but he got a brainwave because there were two cats stuck together, cuddled up together in front of the fire, and there was purring and there was snoring and there was lovely. And to say to Mikey and Mary, he said, Mikey and Mary, look at the two cats now, he said, they're lovely and cuddly together, he said, and they're getting on very well and they blend well together. And there's no reason, he said, why the two of you couldn't be the same. The wife, she had enough of it. She said, Father, she will you shut up? Because you didn't know what you're talking about. She said, I'll tell you one thing now, she said. Tie those two cats together, she said, and then you'll see how well they get on together. And I tell you, before the fella in white, the white jackdaw comes back. Did you ever see a white blackbird? That's the nearest thing you'll ever see to one if you haven't seen one already. But I tell you, I don't believe they're all going to go to heaven. See, I have secret information again. I believes in dreams and things, and I tell you why I believe that now, because there was this family and they had four sons. They were three from priests, and there was another fellow like myself. he would have been offbeat. And as soon as the three sons was ordained priests, you know what they did the other first? They kicked him out of the house. They did. They kicked him out of the house. They had no time for the likes of me at all. No time for the likes of me. Kicked him out. But there were one Christmas then, and wouldn't all the three priests home, so didn't they take pity on the fourth fellow too, and they brought him home too. And Christmas morning, the mammy in the family, she got up very early, she had the fire light, and she was getting the breakfast, and the first priest come down, he said, Mammy, he said, I had a lovely dream last night, he said. And the mammy said, what are you dreaming about, son? He said, I dreamt I was in heaven. And what was it like? It was just like home, mother, he said, just like home, beautiful atmosphere. Because the mammy, she was delighted, and she said, sit down now by a fire, son. She said, I'll be getting your breakfast, and I called you when it was ready. And then the second priest, he come down, and he had the same dream. And the third priest, he had the same dream. She had dreamed sitting around the fire. And then the fellow like myself come down. And he said, Mammy, I had an awful dream last night. I dreamt I was in hell. And said the mother to him, what was it like? 'Twas just like Holmes, you see, you couldn't get near the fire with all the clergy around it, he said. What? I'd say no more. I'll keep my mouth shut now. I better come back here, you.
What's that about a white jack that you were saying? Lame duck. Go on, lame duck. Ladies and gentlemen, Father Raymond Barry. Hey. You got a chance to see him again. This week in Macroom, Gilbert and Sullivan Society present the highlights from all the shows seen for one night only on Friday the 23rd this month, which is next Friday night at the Hooded Cloak, starting at 9 p.m. sharp. Admission £3. Father Raymond Barry will be on that as well, so you better book ahead of time if you want to see him. Now, next we have a guitar stringing, singing priest. At a great expense, this man. As a matter of fact, a lot of tragedy over the weekend, wasn't there? Good friend of ours, his sister was killed yesterday in Limerick, so he had to go to the removal. He's late as such. Tonight, he's here in good form anyhow, as usual, with his guitar, ready to play for you. Big welcome, please, to Father Donald Leahy. Hi! There's no chair, Donny. You know. You can join in now if you know any of the songs. Have you seen the old man who walks the streets of London? Dirt in his hair and his clothes in rags. He's no time for talking, he just keeps right on walking, carrying his home into carrier bags. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. Have you seen the old man in the closed down market, kicking up the papers with his worn out shoes? In his eyes you see no pride, and they'll loosely by his side. Yesterday's papers tell him yesterday's news. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. In the all-night cafe at 11:15, same old man sitting there on his own, looking at the world or the rim of his teacup. Each tea lasts an hour, then he wanders home alone. So how can you tell me you're lonely
the sun don't shine. Let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. So how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun don't shine? Let me take you by the hand, I'll lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind. I'll show you something that'll make you change your mind.
Thank you very much. Now, I sing a song that's nice, gentle, sweet little song. Macom and Clancy have it. They're called the Dutchman. And again, if you know, especially the chorus, please join in. The Dutchman's not the kind of man who keeps his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden, Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. He thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snows. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes he thinks he sees the unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the cider sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes, his cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed in. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes and takes him home again, through unforgiving street that strips him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the cider sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The windmills swirl the winter in, she pulls his muffler tighter, they sit in the kitchen. And the tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, come makes his bed up, singing some old love song. They learned it when the tune was very new. She sings a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret holds the candlelight. Let us
go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the cider sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the cider sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Now after that we'll sing along, maybe something that you all know, and join in.
I've a nice little cot and a small piece of land in a place by the side of the sea, and I care about no one because I believe there's nobody cares about me. My peace is destroyed and I'm fairly annoyed by a lassie who works in the town. She sighs every day as she passes my way. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Do you want your old lobby washed down? Sunshine. Do you want your old lobby washed down? She sighs every day as she passes my way. Do you want your old lobby washed down? The other day the old landlord came by for his rent. I told him no money I had. Besides, 'twasn't fair for to ask me to pay. The times are so awfully bad. He seemed discontent at not getting his rent, and he shook his big head with a frown. Says he, I'll take half, but says I with a laugh, do you want your old lobby washed down? Do you want your old lobby washed down? Conshine, do you want your old lobby washed down? Says he, I'll take half, but says I with a laugh, do you want your old lobby washed down? The boys look so bashful when they go out courting. They seem to be so very shy. To kiss a young maid, sure they seem half afraid, but they would if they could on the sly. But me, I do things in a different way. I don't give a nod or a frown. When I goes to court, I says, here goes for sport. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Do you want your old lobby washed down? Conshine, do you want your old lobby washed down? When I goes to court, I says, here goes for sport. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Last time. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Conshine, do you want your old lobby washed down? When I goes to court, I says, here goes for sport. Do you want your old lobby washed down? Conshine. Thank you very much. Thank you now. Bye.
Now, did you hear that young fella there a while ago talking about marriage? Isn't he a fright? What he said about it. And you know, I know two old bachelors, and they told me when they were young, their father told them, lads, wait until you're 65 to get married. And then if you meet the right woman, she's worth waiting for. And if you meet the wrong one, you won't have long to suffer. No, tell you that because this is a story about marriage. This is a story about Irish marriage, sad. It was so sad now that this particular piece was composed over 40 years ago, and it's still very true today. We have a very nice man from Clondrohid Parish, Carriganima, to give you this beautiful story from the north of Ireland. Very sad. Big welcome, please, for Father Pat Scanlon.
I was born and reared in Sandy Row, a loyal orange prod. I stood for good King William, that noble man of God. My motto, no surrender. My flag, the Union Jack. And every 12th I proudly marched to Finaghy and back. As well as that, a Linfield man, as long as I can mind. And I had no time for Catholics or any of that kind. Then one night in Bangor, I met wee Rosie Green, and the minute I laid eyes on her, I knew she was my queen. And when I saw she fancied me, my mind was all abuzz, and I clean forgot to ask her what her religion was. The next time that I met her, I said I'm a Praddy, staunch and true, and she said I'm a Catholic, and just as staunch as you. The words were harsh and bitter, but suddenly like this, the centuries of hatred were forgotten in a kiss. I knew our love could bring us nothing but trouble and distress, but nothing in this world could make me love wee Rosie less. I saved a bit of money as quickly as I could, and asked her if she'd marry me, and God, she said she would. But then the trouble really started. Her folks went raving mad, and when mine heard about it, they were twice as bad. My father said from that day on he'd hang his head in shame, and by a strange coincidence, her father said the same. My mother cried her eyes out, and said I'd rue the day that I let a papish hussy steal my loyal heart away. And Rosie's mother said, when she recovered from the blow, that she'd rather see the devil than a man from Sandy Row. We were married in a Papist church, the other side of town. That's how Rosie wanted it, and I couldn't let her down. But the priest was very nice to us and made me feel at home. I think he pitied both of us. Our families didn't come. The room we went to live in had nothing but the walls. 'Twas far away from Sandy Row and further from the falls. But that's the way it had to be, for both of us knew well, back there among the crowds, we knew our lives would just be hell. But life out there for Rosie was lonely, well I knew, and of course we had our quota of religion problems too. At dinner time on Friday, when Rosie gave me fish, I'd look at it and then at her and say, that's not my dish. I mind well what she said to me, you've got to pay the price. And to eat no meat on Friday is a poor wee sacrifice to make for Christ, who died for us on Friday long ago. Anyway, I ate the fish and 'twasn't bad, you know. On Sunday morning she got up for Mass, but I lay on in bed. But Rosie would have none of it. You're going to church, she said. So we left the house together, but we parted down the line, as she went off to her church, and I went off to mine. The weeks and months went quickly by, and then there came the day when Rosie upped and told me that a child was on the way. We went upon our knees that night and prayed the Lord above to give our child two gifts alone, tolerance and love. Och, the rows before the wedding were infinitely mild compared to all the rumpus that was raised about that child. Rosie's parents came to say the child must be our C, and mine said it would have to be a Protestant like me. The child must be a Catholic, the child must be a Prad. But the last and loudest voice I heard was the mighty voice of God, and to his awful summons I had to bow my head 1 hour after it was born, our poor wee child was dead. Our poor wee child was dead. That night I knelt by Rosie's side, and just before the dawn I kissed her as she left me to join her angel son. And my loyal heart was broken within those lonely walls. Where the hell's the Shankill? Where the hell's the Falls? But that was many years ago, long years of grief and pain, when I'd have given all I had to see her face again. My loneliness is over now. I'll see her soon, I know. The doctors told me yesterday I haven't long to go. And when I go up yonder, I hope they let me through. And if they ask me who I'm for, King Billy or the Pope, I'm going to take no chances. I'll tell them straight and fair. I'm a loyal Ulster Protestant who loved a papisher. And one way or another, I know they'll let me through. And Rosie, yes, my Rosie will be waiting there, and our little angel too. And then the child will lead us, the papish and the prad, up those steps together into the arms of God.
Father Pat Scanlon, Father Pat Scanlon. See, old habits die hard, you know. We've Irish people, we've the same attitudes to other things as well. Like drink. The attitude to drink. You go into a house, maybe for the first time, they offer you a drink. Go on, get it down, it'll do you good. But get it down. 2 hours later over the wash basin, get it up, go on, get it up. Do you good. There's an old Irish recipe for a hangover. Stay drunk. Right, now, fasten your safety belts here, ladies and gentlemen. Fasten your safety belts. Because you'll need to, because you could be sent flying. Because now is the spot for the rock and roll. Big welcome, please, for Father Pat Lawton.
Now here's a dance you should know. Hey, everywhere the lights are down. No, hey, grab your baby there. No, hey, you do the hustle buck, hey, you do the hustle buck, hey. If you don't know how to do it, then you're out of luck. Hey, hey, it's the roll around, hey, and you started shaking and moving all around. You raise your like a steak, you wobble like a duck. That's what you do when you do the huckleback. And now here's a dance you should know. Hey, everywhere. You wriggle like a snake, you wobble like a duck. That's what you do when you do the hucklebuck. Take it away! Now here's a dance you should know. Hey, baby, when the lights are down, low, hey, drive your baby there. No, hey, you do the hucklebuck, hey, you do the hucklebuck, hey. If you don't know how to do it, then you're out of luck. Hey, 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 then you start shaking and moving all around. You wriggle like a snake, you wobble like a duck. That's what you do to the hucklebuck. Oh, yeah. I'm tired. I'm getting old. All right, let's go again. Woo-hoo! One for the money, two for the show. Three to get ready, now little friend, go, don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do anything but get off my blue suede shoe. You can knock me down, slap my face, step my name all over the place. Do anything that you want me to. All my money, my blue suede shoes, don't you step on my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but get off of my blue suede shoes. Come on now, let's come. Blue suede shoes, blue suede shoes, blue suede shoes, blue suede shoes. You can do anything but get off of my blue suede shoes. Baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. I put a chain around my neck, leave me anywhere, oh let me be. Oh, let him be your teddy bear. I don't wanna be a tiger, tigers meant to roll. I don't wanna be a tiger, tigers never meant to be alone. Oh, baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. I put a chain around my neck, lead me anywhere, oh let me be, your teddy bear. Let's go. Come on, baby, got a whole lot of shake going on. Come on, baby, got a whole lot of shake going on. Come on, baby, got a whole lot of shake going on. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Shake, baby, shake. Come on, baby, there's a whole lot of shake going on. Hey. I was tired, now I'm a lot tireder. This is a song that I'd like to sing for all of you, but a young girl asked me a while ago for it, dedicated especially to her. So that's what I'm going to do for all of you and for Carmel O'Riordan. I think she's somewhere up there with the Moynihan sisters. It's Stevie Wonder's new song, so if you know it, please sign. No New Year's Day to celebrate, no chocolate girls with candy hearts to give away, no first of spring, no songs to sing. In fact, it's just another ordinary day. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I must say to you. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. No summer sun, no warm July, no harvest moon to light when tender August night, no autumn breeze, no falling no hide the wings, no giving thanks to all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is something true to fill your heart like no three words would ever do. Are you ready? I just called to say I love you too. I just called to say how much I care. Oh, I do. I just called to say I love you. And I mean it from the bottom of my I hope you'll sing along with me now. This is my final song for the night. You can go home then. I'll come tomorrow night as well. You all know this song very well, so join in the chorus especially. Oh, mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are sown. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is Let's go! More and more and more, my nights are lonely. Let's go! Long before you call, I hope you hear me. Time and time again, I try to find you. Hi, Eileen! Till the very end, I won't turn back down every road. I travel on and on and on. Let's see those hands reaching out my hand. I try to touch, I try to feel, but you're not there. No, you're not real. Still, I believe that you belong. You've been gone for too long. and more and more. I need you only. More and more and more. Why not so lonely? More and more and more. I need you only.
Circle. And I'll take the biscuits inside and I'll be eating away.
Not used to this, you know. Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure tonight to thank the priests of the Holy Show for putting on such a wonderful show here tonight. I think you will agree with me that we've had a feast of song, dance, comedy, and real good entertainment. And on behalf of the Macroom and District ACT Committee, I thank them very sincerely. My thanks also to the Circus Show Band for entertaining us so beautifully. Now I want to thank several people, but first of all I want to thank Dennis Murphy, the proprietor of the Palace Cinema, and his staff. His staff, Harry and John, who have been so helpful to us in every way in preparing for this show. I also want to thank the committees, plural, of the Father Ryan Hall, especially Charlie Toomey, the Clondrohid Community Centre and the Macroom Youth Club for loaning us the extra seating we needed here tonight, and the Castle Hotel. And Michael and Patrick McCarthy and their friends, I want to thank them for the transport of the chairs to the hall. Now, Dennis Deneen and Donald Scannell, anything we have, they're here. And thank you very much indeed. I would also like to thank the shops in Macroom and the surrounding areas who sold the tickets for us, and the ticket sellers at the raffle tonight. And indeed, I might have forgotten somebody, but if I did, anyone who has given us a helping hand, we thank you sincerely. Now, last but not least, I want to express my thanks to you, the audience, for your wonderful support here tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Now, I'm very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Maurice Hurley, the radiotherapy consultant of the Cork Regional Hospital, who will explain it a lot better than I could, what we're collecting for. And he's very kindly going to say a few words to us now. Dr. Maurice Hurley.
Bright up here, isn't it? Got this bright up here. Basically, the fund ACT, to which you're contributing tonight and which we're getting a lovely cheque for, is a fund we set up about 2 years ago to purchase radiotherapy treatment equipment to treat cancer. Now, cancer is treated in 3 different ways: by surgery, by radiotherapy, by chemotherapy. Radiotherapy is one of the mainstays of treatment. 60% of all patients with cancer will eventually have treatment by radiotherapy in one form or another. It was thought that, looking at the equipment that we did have, that there were some items which are on the market fairly recently and which have made great advances where they have been applied, in units and where they have been bought. And there have been great advances in cancer treatment in those units. We felt that it was only fair that the people of Munster should have the same treatment. Unfortunately, the government doesn't have the money to purchase this equipment. Our first piece of equipment costs £230,000 plus VAT. Our second piece costs £500,000 plus VAT. All in all, we set a target for ourselves to £1.5 million. I stood up before you somewhere in the region of a year ago, just over a year ago, at the first function organised by Mrs. Gould and the committee, and laid out roughly this programme ahead of you. I'm pleased to tell you today we have got roughly £180,000, and we need 220 only for the first piece. So we have nearly attained the first piece of equipment, which is a fantastic response. And for that I thank you. I would like to thank the committee, Mrs. Gould, all her workers of the Macroom and District Committee. They have worked phenomenally hard over the past 2 years, and with any bit of luck we should have this piece of equipment purchased by next April or May. We'll then set about to getting the larger bit, but we'll worry about that later. Let's take it one day at a time. And I would thank you for your generosity. You've been asked to contribute to so many sources, and thank you for giving to us. Now, I don't like to talk.
Pleasure in presenting Dr. Morris Hurley with a cheque for £6,000.
Thank you very much.
It's great to see Macroom giving that amount of money, and it's great again to see my neighbour, Dr. Morris Hurley, there, collected for the regional hospital. We've come to the end of the show. We have enjoyed being here tonight with you. We've enjoyed the audience in Macroom for the second time now in 2 years. And all we have left is one finale, right? And we want to remind you, for God's sake, you know, love your enemies. You'll drive them crazy. Would you have the Ollie Show, please, on stage? When the saints go marching in, I want to be among that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Hey! Oh, when the saints, oh, when the saints, oh, when the saints go marching in, I want to be among that number. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Hey!
We're on the one road, singing the one road. We're on the road to God knows where.
Hey!
We're on the one road,
singing the one road, but we're together now, who cares?
Northmen, Southmen, comrades on.
Down and far, like the Nelly Gall.
We're on the one road,
Singing along, singing a soldier's song.
though we've had our troubles now and then, now is the time to make them up again. Sure, aren't we all Irish anyhow? Now is the time to get together now. We're on the one road,
Sing the one road,
we're on the road to God knows where.
we're on the one road, singing the one road, we're together now, who cares? Northmen, Southmen, comrades on, Dublin, Belfast, Cork, the Donegal.
We're on the one road,
Singing along, singing a soldier's song. National anthem. She up in the fall, a topping yowling erin, windows blue, chanting the Ronnie Coon, Fairborn Visse, chanting Roshin Shafasta, the